This summer we brought together industry leaders, policymakers and experts for MiCAR 1 year down the road. In one powerful day we reflected on MiCAR's first year, uncovered real lessons learned and looked ahead to the future of tokenization and digital assets in Europe. In this episode you'll hear what our participants had to say, their visions, challenges and insights on where the token economy is heading.
How can tokenization help businesses to operate more efficiently? That's a very broad question. What do you think?
From my perspective, tokenization brings a lot of benefits with it. So if you think of the internet as a way to transfer data, you can think of the blockchain as the way to transfer value. And this shortens the lines for, or at least for transfer of value between certain parties. So I think if you're in a business where you have that type of efficiency that you need to prioritize, tokenization can certainly help you in that aspect.
Yeah, I also think that the transparency that comes with tokenization helps foster more consumer trust within businesses. And I feel like in the age of information, that is definitely a valuable aspect to have.
In general, it's a more efficient payment system. Settlement times are quicker. It is more accessible worldwide, has a more uniform presentation and a more broad application, where with normal banking applications a lot of people are often excluded. With Web3 tokenization, a way broader spectrum of people are included.
I think in general tokenization is a way to digitize assets and also enable the digitalization of the administration of those assets. So for companies that are involved in moving assets, recording assets, selling assets, buying assets, doing it in a tokenized way streamlines the operations because you can carry the business logic with you. Particularly when it comes to cash, that's my interest as an issuer of stablecoins. Tokenizing cash basically takes it out of the legacy rails, removes it from ledger to ledger reconciliation endless times in the course of a payment, and enables peer-to-peer payment, ultra-fast settlement. Incredible revolutionary technology for payments.
The answer is pretty simple: faster, cheaper, better. Faster in the sense of transactions that go faster, cheaper, speaks for itself, and better in the sense that tokenization provides the opportunity to settle on the same rail as you transact other value.
Well, I think it can help businesses to make their processes more transparent and efficient. For instance, if you look at funds or financial instruments, you now have to observe all types of requirements. And I think if you have a token, that facilitates the process. If you have a tokenized funds, for instance, you can make the transfer, redemption, all those processes very cost efficient and fast.
We see from ABN AMRO tokenization being applied on the fundraising side and on the distribution side, where mainly on the distribution we expect that we can broaden the reach of investors. Not possible yet already, but with new regulations in place, we expect that they can benefit from that, and that will increase their funding, but also lower maybe their funding costs because there's a more widespread investor base.
I think it's a logical evolution, perhaps in the process of digitizing our economy, and it's just a technical solution to help in that process. And I think the special thing about it is that it allows what's beautifully called decentral transactions, so transactions between entities without a third party. I think that's really the revolutionary part of it. So I think that's the key of it.
What key trends, what macro trends do you think are driving the adoption for tokenization worldwide in the next 5 years?
So I think that the drive with AI is certainly something to think about. So we're going to have an agent economy that's going to start popping up, and that means that we need to start automating. And when you start automating in a digital world, you need to be able to streamline those processes properly. And I personally think that the digital assets, specifically stable coins, could become a very strong player in that ecosystem.
Yes, to add on to that, I think AI also helps people learn about different blockchain concepts more easily and become more familiar with it and sort of explain it to them in easier terms as compared to before. So I definitely think that increase in comprehensibility also plays a role in the driving of blockchain technology.
The main driver will be the current digitalization of everything, commerce, communication, and probably also the change in the reach that people have in their lives. They will start living a lot more international lives than we have in the past. Travel has become cheaper. Work has become more and more remote. So we need solutions that are custom fitted to those living conditions.
And regulatory is one of those conditions.
Well, where in the past people normally faced only one or two different regulatory environments, they will now likely face multiple regulatory environments. So having a solution that is compatible with multiple regulatory environments is very important.
I think in general the world is positioning itself for a decline in working population. So there's a increasing need for automation, increasing need for efficiency. Costs are going up of a workforce, and that will only continue to happen. So tokenization helps digitize, automate those processes. The other thing that we're seeing now coming up, and we're running some projects in that, are around agentic AI. It's booming massively, but you can see how AI agents are going to take over work for individuals, for companies, etc., to automate tasks. And someone needs to pay the agents, and the agents can't take physical cash. They don't have a bank account, so they're going to need stable coins to be paid for.
Well, obviously regulation plays a big part. You see the developments in the US really being a driver for acceleration, and Europe usually follows the US in that sense quite regularly. So I think those are two big themes that will drive adoption. We see already, or we view it already as a tipping point of something that is not going away anymore. We will have tokenized assets, we will have digital assets. And from here on, we will only see this growing and growing year over year.
Well, I think in this modern world, people want transparency and more and more. So I think tokenization facilitates that in a great way.
Yeah, I think there's now, of course, in 2025, a lot of attention for stablecoins. So I think, we have been in the space for a long time already, and it was always okay, talk about digital assets, oh, Bitcoin. And now all of a sudden say, okay, we go from cross-border to borderless payments and all kind of other things. If you look at tokenization specific and then in Europe, what we have seen in the last year is that the wholesale CBDC from the ECB really urged a lot of companies to start working with this. So the ECB is now also 24/7 available. That was first a pilot. They will come with a new solution before end of this year, so still 2025. And this makes it possible for big institutions also to start working with cash on chain, not directly on a public chain, but they can have cash on chain and have all the other documents still in their traditional systems.
I think again, it's the awareness that decentral solutions or decentralized solutions are possible. I think that it's a response to what happened in the economy in the last couple of decades, where people think businesses and citizens actually are more and more motivated to do things directly, so there's themselves without involvement of governments or big institutional parties like you see in the financial sector, or even like we see in the energy sector. So I think that's a trend that has been building up for people to want to take back power to do things themselves, to be more independent in a way.
Why do you believe that tokenization will become the de facto standard and essential for businesses?
If I have to think about that specifically, when you look at the digital asset space, right, it's transforming the way that the financial system is going to work in the future. So you need to really look at it as an advance into the financial system, how the financial system is going to change over time. And the financial system is a little bit legacy with all the different people in between, the intermediaries in between. That disintermediation is going to happen regardless of whether we want it to or not. And this is just something that's going to trigger that, I think. So I think the opportunities there for the business is really going to be to strengthen how they use finances or work with assets on, for instance, the blockchain.
It is a bit like accepting the debit card machine for stores. It will be part of a toolkit needed to address a wider and wider market of clients. So you will be more or less forced in order to not be left behind. If you did not adopt debit card payments back in the late 80s, then your store did not have a long life ahead of it. And I think the same will be true for digital payments. If you don't start accepting them, then you will have a problem doing commerce.
I think it's fundamental. If you want to be serious about digital transformation as a company, you can only go so far without tokenizing the assets that are moved around in the company. So you can scan things, you can rekey things, you can make it digital, but ultimately the true tokenization, particularly interaction within supply chains or value chains, has to be done with tokens rather than sending papers between the companies. So it's a fundamental step towards progress, and any company that positions themselves well in that area will benefit from the growing and accelerating adoption of tokenization.
Well, I believe that it is an inevitable fact. The way we operate now will still exist in the future, but we will just see other forms of transacting value. And tokenization will be one of them. CBDCs, stablecoins, different means of payments, different rails for different use cases. It will live next to each other in the future, and we believe that this trend is gonna continue. We need to be able to service our customers via different rails. We see a shift to 24/7 always on financial markets. I think this is really important for us as Rabobank to follow in a responsible way, of course, to make sure our clients benefit from it in a secure and responsible way.
I think that their clients would like to see that. That's one of the issues, because clients would like to see businesses and services that are fast, that are transparent, that are efficient. I think it would be good for the business, but I think they also have to do that to meet the requests of their clients.
So tokenization as such has some benefits, but if we look at the total value chain that is becoming to be digitized, that really helps efficiency, lowers costs. We see that existing products will rise in cost. If you look, for example, at funds, where if you digitize it and you create a standard that you can reuse, costs will go down. And this is really interesting for banks itself, but also for the companies, because they will also face lower costs for the funds they are going to raise. And we see that if you use a token, you can attach other data components than that you just put money on the table. And that's really efficient and interesting for a lot of companies.
I don't want to say it's essential. I think... the economy always evolves in a way that we look for more efficient solutions to issues that we have and problems that we have. And tokenization is a revolutionary step forward in digitizing our economy. So it's obvious it will be used more and more because there's a benefit to it, and not only in financial terms, but also in governance aspects, which tokenization also enables. So I think by its nature, it will become a success because it appeals to a lot of needs that people have at the moment.
I've been in crypto for a very long time, going on 8 years now. My personal goal is to have this new method of doing commerce be a fully integrated part of finance. I started in this business when we were still being laughed at, and slowly but surely we are edging towards a world where we're an accepted part of the financial reality of people, and that is my main goal. I don't want to say end goal because I'm too young for end goals, but that's my main goal at the moment.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you share this vision, make sure to join the 2 Tokens movement. Become a fellow and unlock exclusive resources with Tutti, our AI guide to tokenization.